Welcome to Chris Betts Versus. I'm Chris Betts. It is December 9th. We're back again, live. If you haven't seen the show before, it's an online version of a show that I used to do called Chris Betts Versus the Audience, where I will argue the opposite of anything that anyone says. But because we're in lockdown and everything's a nightmare, I do it online now, and mostly I do it against one comic, and I bring in another comic to judge, partly because it's a fun show and it keeps me busy, and partly because I miss comedians, and this is a reason to say weird, fucked up things with them, which is really my favorite thing to do with comics. So basically the show goes like this. We got a few rounds. We argue all kinds of nonsense. So far, I defended QAnon, public nudity. I said that it was a good thing that my friend didn't get to see the Tragically Hip before the singer died of brain tumors. I lost that one. It's a damn shame. It's all just very simple. I've got, there's one disclaimer that I want to put out there, which is sometimes people forget that this is a game. So I just need everyone that's watching to know that just because I say a thing doesn't mean I mean that thing. Okay? It's just a game. So when I argue that apartheid was good, because it provided neighborhoods that were immune to gentrification, that's not how I feel inside. It's just a pretty solid argument. So I'm just a goddamn champion. So with that in mind, our first guest, he's going to be my opponent today. His name is David Mills. He's an absolutely fantastic comedian. I'm very excited to have him on. By the way, if any of you are tuning in because you're hoping to see Jess Fostekew, she got a very well-paid gig, and this gig pays nothing. So she's going to be back at another show, but her replacement is fantastic. I'm so excited to have him. It's David Mills. Please, in your homes where I cannot see or hear you, give it up for the wonderful David Mills, everybody. Hi, David.
Hello.
How you doing, buddy?
Chris.
You well?
Hi, I'm good. How are you?
I'm very well, thank you. I'm very jealous of your statement wall. It's
well, actually, it's a bit of a curtain thing. It's a shade, so you can get one.
Could have fooled me. Damn it. Yeah. I really need to invest in my set because right now I basically have a pile of garbage behind my back. It's a very well positioned. That's as close as I've come to organizing this.
But I have a pile of garbage in front of me. You just can't see it.
That's probably, even better. You got the color behind you. I have a terrible golden curtain that I used as a background for the first two shows. And I just couldn't face it anymore. So didn't want to put anyone through it. But anyway, welcome to the show. I'm excited to argue against you.
Yeah,
I think this is going to be great. And before we get going, I'm going to introduce the judge. I bring in a judge to this show, always have, because it's an argument-based show. And no one that I know, at least, can admit that they've lost an argument. Maybe I only fraternize with petty people, but that's my choice. So I bring in a judge to decide who argued best, not who's right, who argued best. And today is one of my favorite judges. She's done the live show a few times. She's one of my favorite comics. Very excited to have her. Please, in your homes where we can either see or hear you, give it up for Eleanor Tiernan.
Hey everyone. Hey, how are we?
How you doing, Eleanor? You well?
Yeah, I'm good. Yeah, great to be back on the show.
It's a pleasure. It's no double-decker bus parked by an underpass, but
no, that's been the scenario the last couple of times. But I'm looking forward to. I feel like I've made some. My judging has been in the past. I feel a little bit over the top. So I'm thinking this time that I'm going to try and really stick to the principle of fairness. That's my absolute goal for this evening.
That's justice. I love to hear it. That's all I want. That's a perfect scenario. All right, so we're going to get straight into it. David, have you got anything on your mind that you can't get out that you'd like me to explain to you?
Yeah. I wonder if you could. I wonder if you could argue, Chris, or explain your support for the idea that Parliament should be dissolved and Queen Elizabeth, the monarch, should rule solely, not just in the UK, but also in Canada.
Oh, wow. All right.
Yeah. So get rid of all sorts of constitutional or whatever the government garbage and just give it up to Queen Elizabeth. Let her rule by decree.
All right. Well, I obviously think this for real. There's no question about that. I would say, okay, so you know how people are always saying the government needs to be run more like a business? Businesses are about efficiency. And what's more efficient than an old woman, possible lizard, in a direct line straight down. Eleanor's getting tense because she's Irish, but Ireland isn't part of this deal. It's just a straight line down to the people. You skip all the
simplified org chart.
Exactly. Org chart is the word I was looking for. And it's it's ruled for the people by the lizard, which I think was in the original draft of the Constitution of America.
Right.
She's old, which makes her wise and kind and prone to giving out candy. That's generosity. She, I would say, okay. Yeah, no, that's, yeah. Can you disprove any of those things before I move on and possibly destroy my own argument?
Yeah, old and wise. I think there's age and wisdom goes to a certain point, but then you get so old that the wisdom sort of stops, and then you just become this kind of angry, old, kind of rigid person. You know what I mean? And maybe, I mean, I've seen The Crown. So I watched that documentary.
Yeah.
So I saw very much how kind of rigid she can be, and she was younger in that documentary. So I'm not entirely sure the wisdom is there. And then the other thing is she is so old that she will die soon, which means Charles will be in charge. And I don't know if you remember that sitcom from the 80s, Charles in Charge, but that was not a very good sitcom. It didn't end well for Scott Baio or anyone really. And so I worry about this concept.
Well, so I would say that we don't really know anything about the Queen because if anyone watching isn't from the UK, you won't know this, but it is illegal to quote the Queen without her express consent. No one's allowed to do it. No direct quotes at all, which I found out from a comedian friend of mine who has spent a great amount of time with her and isn't allowed to use any of it in his shows. He's very upset about it.
Really?
Yeah. I will name him after we are after we are done the stream. So that's in one way, I think it would give like a third dimension to a living enigma. We've never really known what the Queen was like. And
or a first dimension even would be useful. Right?
Well, the first dimension is her hot bod. I mean, she's beach body ready. She's got it going on. She's all
beach
confidence.
Body ready.
Yeah.
And the second dimension are her hats.
Yeah, her immaculate hats and her perfect wave that shows that she understands her role. So she's business. She's business up front, but is she pleasure in the back? That's how we find out when she's in charge. I think that. So we'd find out who she really is, which would be nice for the history books because it'd be good for us to know she's been queen. She's the longest ruling monarch of all time, I think, at this point. And then second, I think that because what you said was we give it to Elizabeth, once she dies, back to Parliament. We give it to Liz and Liz only because she has earned it by being alive for so long. And I mean, if nothing else, the UK has shown that they're really embracing chaos right now. They're liking to do a lot of things, not make any plans for it. So giving it the whole thing over to one old lady is really in line with their current philosophy.
And Canada as well.
Canada, we're so far away. She doesn't know what the fuck we're doing. We're fine. We're in the woods. We're that kid that you send out at breakfast and tell him to come home before the lights come on. She could be in charge all she wants. We're not going to listen to her.
I don't know about this concept. I'm wary. I would say this. I agree with getting rid of the government because I think the government both in the UK and Canada are quite shit at the moment. So get rid of those. I would say Canada, give the government over to the native people. Let them run it. And I'm not talking about whitey like you. I'm talking about like the native Canadians. Let them run it for a while.
Yeah.
Give it to the First Nations people and let them. And they might have a king or a regent of sort or a queen. And let that person rule. I think that's a cool idea. And here, I think what they should do is do like an X Factor kind of thing. And we can vote on a new ruler via X Factor, have Simon Cowell and, Amanda Holden and the others sort of help us through that process as a nation. And, maybe it'll end up being Susan Boyle, who knows?
If all the contestants that had won in the past had been as successful as Kelly Clarkson, then sure, maybe.
I mean,
but they all
the greatest,
right? But they all fall off after a year now, so that clearly
Jennifer
doesn't
Hudson.
Work. Did she win?
She didn't win.
See, there you go.
But-
Flawed system. Not interested.
Flawed system. True.
So
true. She didn't win, but she won an Oscar. So
yeah, absolutely. After
and
she lost at this,
she came from it. She came from whatever was America's Got Talent, I guess.
X Factor. You got a voice and a face. Thanks for coming. So I would say in the First Nations thing, I agree that we should let them run things, but the majority white government in Canada would never allow for that. And I think that someone as old and possibly insane as Queen Elizabeth is more likely to, on her deathbed, bestow them that power than they are ever likely to get it through normal means through the Canadian government. And so if you really want to see that, you just need someone close to her to whisper it into her ear and have her go, okie dokie. And I assume that's what she says. I'll never know for sure.
Yeah.
I think, I mean, I don't see any flaws in this plan.
Well, I still don't think it's a great idea. I think she's, a mutual friend of ours that I'll tell you about afterwards said that the real solution for the royalty and the whole royal family is line him up against the wall and shoot him. And that
is your friend Karl Marx.
No, but I guess he said something very similar. But apparently that's the only way you solve the problem of royalty, because they always come back. And you really got to cut it off at the head and just kill all the others. That's why they haven't come back in Russia. That said, you don't really want their system either.
No, see, I'm pro royalty. I love a good mascot.
But I mean, you can have mascots without royalty.
Nah, it's not the same. They're so shiny. All right, we'll call that one there. Eleanor, what do you think?
Wow, guys, some really amazing arguments put forward there. I have to say, some of them were so highbrow, they lost me. I was so, but I tried to.
The Charles in charge.
Yeah. That was completely outside my range of experience. What can I say? The Crown. I've not seen it, so I can't judge how well made your point is Dave. So I'm going to give you. I'm just going to give you two points for that. Chris, you made the point that the lady is old and therefore wise. That's what are you talking about?
Exactly.
They don't go together. Which has the last 4 years not shown the world. We've been falsely conflating those two values.
We just didn't go old enough.
No way. Is it illegal to quote the Queen? I hope so. I'm going to do it. She says herself, "One is never meant to be the sole ruler." Did you know that? So. That's
why do you know that about the Queen?
I don't, but I just want the chance. I want to break the rule.
Okay.
So I just made that up.
Okay.
I will have to try and do it now though. At some point on a future show maybe. It was absolute chaos. Really, that whole argument and the whole stuff about the First Nations. I wanted to see more about the Parliament itself. Neither of you. But it was about. I guess the monarchy is, that's definitely a debate. But like getting rid of Parliament, did either of you think that?
I think we both sort of agreed that that's okay.
Yeah. It feels like neither of us are too tied to it.
Okay. We could have left that out. And then the X Factor situation as or what was it? The American one.
As a solution,
As a solution, I guess it is good. I guess we could do that. So that's that means that David, I gave you 2 points, but Chris, I'm going to give you 3 now for that.
Oh damn!
Damn! Yeah.
This is chaos.
Wait a minute.
Have I got? This is whose line is it anyway? Scoring. I love it.
Solution was mine.
It was yours. That's right. So let's give it to you instead.
This is bullshit. I hate this game.
Thank you.
So, I'm going to write that down. We've got 5 points for David and 0 for you now, Chris. Sorry
this
about
is
that.
insane. I don't understand any of this. This is, Wow, you're not getting rebooked. That's for sure.
I've heard that before.
Yeah.
All right. Well, we're gonna take that into our first speed round. So,
Okay.
Eleanor, you've got a list of words. Josh, I think you have a clock for us. Perfect. That's Josh, our tech right there. So, David, Eleanor is going to read out words pretty rapid fire. We got 2 minutes to get through as many topics as we can. Do you want to be for or against everything that she says?
I'll be for it.
Okay, cool. Just so you know, it's totally random. This is a random word generator. So
Here we go.
It could be anything. All right.
Here we go.
2 minutes on the clock. Josh, please start the clock.
Confusion.
Absolutely for it. Chaos theory. It's the best way of getting through anything. Think of your grocery store, right? Where is anything? You have to find it. It's confusing. It works. Yes, I'm all for it.
I hate confusion because when I look confused, my wife says I look adorable, and I'm going for ruggedly manly. Next.
Next is fiber. Fiber is an important part of your diet. We used to call it roughage. Now they call it fiber. It's actually true that. Yeah, I mean, it keeps you regular. So who doesn't love fiber?
I'd say that I think we just explained that we don't want old people around. And I think that less fiber is one way of killing them sooner. So fuck fiber.
Okay, next one is depression.
More people should be depressed, actually. You learn a lot about yourself and others. It humbles you. That's what the world needs, a little humility right now. Depression, I'm all for it.
Depression normally afflicts the best of us. And the reason that it's so bad is because we're all so sad. And so we need to be freed so that we can actually defeat the tyranny going on. Fuck depression. Next.
Okay, what about theater?
I mean, who doesn't love theater? It's you know, the opiate of the masses. You know, it's look, people are voting for theater all the time. That's why people vote for people like Boris Johnson. They love the theater of it. Yes, more theater. Less content.
I hate theater. Plays are just embarrassing movies. Next.
I have to agree. Okay, next is, I can't tell if this is refuse or refuse. Okay, but you can choose.
Refuse, rubbish, garbage. Yeah, more of it, please. We can burn it and use it for energy.
Garbage is bad. Recycle your ketchup bottles. Make them edible. I don't know. That's the end of the speed round. All right. So it was 1 point for each topic. How do we end up doing, Eleanor?
So David, I gave you a point for, you did very well on the refuse there, and you did really well on depression. I thought Chris made a very good case on theater, about how shit theater is.
You did. Yeah. I'll give you that.
Thank you.
Nice one on the callback with fiber as well, relating it to your earlier. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to give you a point for fiber here, but I'm also going to give you a back point for the previous round.
Oh shit!
Wow.
Yeah, that was just.
Oh my goodness.
Okay, so there we had 3 points for you and 3 points for you, Chris, including the one from the previous round.
Okay, so that makes it 8-3.
Yes. No, it doesn't. It makes it 8-3. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Sorry, Chris. It makes it 3-8. I think you'll find.
Oh, cool. I'm first. All right, I'll take that.
Yeah.
Makes me feel powerful. Okay. So now we are going to go into the regrets round. The regrets round is my favorite round.
Regrets.
This is a round where people tell me things that they, excuse me, terribly rude, things that they regret about their life, and I tell them why it's the best thing they've ever done. Or they tell me things they're proud of, and I tell them why they're a piece of shit for being proud of that. So, David, unburden yourself. What have you got?
Chris Betts, I regret that I never learned to play an instrument.
Okay. All right.
It's a great regret of mine.
Is there any particular instrument you wish you'd learned to play?
Piano.
All right.
I can
see
know,
that with your
the thing
act.
about piano is, just to make this point, if you know anyone who's a piano player, they're always in work. They've always got work. You know, you got their weddings, their parties, you can accompany people, you can compose shit, and you can do it all from home. You make your own hours, you can teach. It's totally freeing. You can travel around the world. You could just play piano. That's the life. That could be my life, Chris. That could be my life.
Yeah, but
instead I'm stuck doing Zoom, comedy shows with a bunch of losers.
How many of those jobs do you actually want to do? Do you want to play piano at weddings?
Do you want to play? I don't want to do that. But I could if I had to.
Do you want to teach spoiled rich kids how to play piano?
No.
And have them not do the practice in between lessons?
No.
Do you want to?
I want to be on stage playing piano.
Yeah. So there is very little work for that. The fun part is way down at the bottom. Your best bet is to work in an orchestra pit, and then no one can see you, and everyone's got an alcohol problem.
Well, there you go.
And I know that firsthand from a musician that plays in an orchestra pit.
Really?
Yeah, they're all a mess. And they're all being replaced by really impressive keyboards now that can do orchestras completely.
Yeah, but if you play piano, you can play that keyboard.
In theory, but can you play tuba piano? Maybe you weren't taught that. Yeah. So so all the jobs that you just named, you don't want any of them. What you want to do is be a performer, which you are. You're a great stand-up comic. You do great work.
Yeah, but
and you do your own thing, which honestly, you have the temperament and the inclination and the style to have, if you played piano, accidentally become a terrible musical comedian. What if you'd accidentally gone down that route because you played the piano and then you hid behind it, as opposed to being the incredible satirist that you are now?
No, that's a point that's a point well made. That is a point well made. There's nothing worse than that. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Also, you'd probably ruin parties because musicians are the worst for that. They always think that people are enjoying it, but really it's sort of a selfish look at me move. Whereas when you're a stand-up comic, you can just do that stealthily within conversations, so it's not as intrusive while still getting the attention you so desperately crave.
So you sound like you're experienced in this.
I've done a lot of research.
Yeah.
There's no
upside.
There's no upside. I mean, yeah, you get to do a thing that's fun, but you could also juggle.
But think of that great moment. But think of that great moment, like when you're with someone special and you can play them a song and write a song for them, and it's like this beautiful thing that you created that's musical and unlike anything else. I just think, what a gift to be able to do that. And I can't do that.
You know what's
and you can't do that.
I can't do that. And I'm proud that I can't do that. I'm not, know, that's always the worst guy in the movie is the guy that does that. The one that you're screaming, don't be with him, is the one that sits and plays the piano, while the nervous one in the corner, who's the one she should be with, he doesn't know how to play piano, so he feels like a fool. But in the end, piano player cheats on her. It's always bad news. You can't, it gives you
but I mean,
undue sense of confidence.
It's bad for her, but it's not so bad for him.
Yeah, because he's destined to be lonely forever because he's so sexy with his piano skills that he never feels the need to commit.
There's always someone. There's always someone for the guy with the piano. There's always someone around the corner waiting. You know what I mean?
But that's the problem. You can't have that always someone, because then you never settle down, because you're always looking at the horizon. You never
when did you get so conventional?
When I had to defend not playing the piano. Also, pianos are for grandparents. You don't want to play the piano. You want to play the guitar. Woo!
Well, that's the other one. Guitar would be really great because you can really travel around with that. Although that guy with the guitar. Oh, yeah. Like the Hooters.
Yeah. Frankie says relax. Yeah. No, I think that learning a musical instrument is a total waste of potential. You could do anything with the concentration and nimbleness that you would use, and romance that you would use in your learning to play a musical instrument. I know a lot of musicians. They're all garbage. I love them.
Right.
They're terrible people.
Unhappy people.
So sad. Unreliable, cruel, bad at sex, from what I heard. Whereas you use your mind. You use your words.
And good at sex.
Good at sex. There you go. That's why. Yeah. Because you focused on that instead of learning how to play the piano. Well done.
You might be onto something there.
Thank you.
Yeah. I'll take that under advisement.
All right. We'll call it there. Eleanor, what are you saying?
Fuck Fucking hell. That was an absolute roller coaster, guys. Oh my God. Can I say I've recently started playing a musical instrument or trying to learn one? I bought a
ukulele.
No, I'm against the ukulele. I'm against that in principle.
Sizest.
That's so, well, here's my rationale. It's too pleasant sounding an instrument, and it confers a kind of a goodwill onto the player that they're not doing nothing to earn.
Yes, I agree.
Yeah, so I think if you're going to play the ukulele, you should be doing something dark with it to undermine the happiness that the instrument is creating on your behalf.
Make it a percussion instrument.
Yeah. So what I've been playing is a thing called the concertina. It's a squeeze box organ thing. It sounds terrible.
I love it. I love it. Yeah.
So that's been in my mind, obviously listening to this. And I after a minute, I was like, Chris is absolutely right. It's a ridiculous thing to think you can start to play a musical instrument, because all the things you mentioned, I don't want to do. And I agreed with you until...
Oh, shit.
Yeah. You start talking about musical comedians. What kind of snobbery is this from the two of you? Come on, guys. It's absolutely disgraceful. We've all been on stage. We've all been at festivals going on stage and said, God, I wish I had a fucking guitar now to get through this.
And I don't want to have to follow that guy.
Yeah, right? Exactly. So I was against you, Chris, but then David agreed with you on the musical comedy. So I was like, okay. The whole thing about a lover, I gotta say, I think I agree with Chris on that, because you don't want to fall in love with somebody superficial, or somebody to fall in love with you, David. You've got so much better qualities than being able to play piano, and people should love you for that, and not for any other reason.
But what an added bonus if I could play.
I feel like you'd have an embarrassment of riches. Look how handsome you are. Imagine being able to play the piano as well. Ridiculous.
What about your partner? What about your partner? What are they going to... You're going to put pressure on them to bring something to the table then.
Finally. That would be nice.
The guitar thing is sounds fun. So I think overall I gotta say Chris convinced me on the piano situation.
Yes.
So I'll give you 2 points for that, Chris.
All right, we're getting there. We're getting there. Yeah. It's a gradual 8 to 5.
All right.
Yeah.
Oh, by the way, how I actually feel, I've been learning piano and guitar myself during lockdown, and it's really fun. Can't recommend it enough.
Wait. Were you a musician to begin with? Or no, this is completely
new. I wanted to play piano. I had like sort of half a knack for it when I was really young, but my parents couldn't afford the lessons, so we just sort of let it drop. And then I got nothing to do. And there are apps. The one that I've been using is called Musician, and it's like a bouncing ball, kind of like Guitar Hero, but it teaches you music theory, all the finger placement, song creation. It's great. It's really
amazing.
Yeah,
amazing. Yeah.
Musician, official sponsor soon. Chris Bets Versus.
Yeah.
Cool. We have time for one more regret. If you've got one, or Eleanor, if you've got something you'd like to unburden yourself with.
Regret. I've loads of regrets.
I got another one if you don't.
Give me a second. I regret. I wish that I had. When I was 18, I voted against legalizing divorce.
Oh wow!
In Ireland, and I regret that.
I thought you were going to say
you regret
that.
Right.
Yeah.
All right.
So you would prefer if divorce was illegal in Ireland?
I did prefer if divorce was illegal in Ireland, and I my vote was a bad vote.
Wow. Was it a close? Was it a close vote?
That's what you mean.
It was a very close vote, and it passed by the narrowest of margins. So it got made legal anyway, but not by. No, I was no help to the situation.
What year was that?
It was like in the 90s,
right.
like 94 or something.
I think I remember that.
Yeah.
Okay, so
I feel bad.
Why were you so anti-divorce as a young woman?
I was very anti-divorce because I mistakenly thought that if I voted against divorce, that I could prevent relationships from falling apart. That was how you did that.
Like yours or your parents or someone.
The
or
general,
the idea
the general breakdown of society was I was quite conservative back when I was 18, 19.
It sounds like you were really afraid.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
You've been talking to my therapist.
Yeah, that was a position of fear you were voting from, which is never ideal.
I guess I was projecting into the future and saying that I never want to be a divorced person. So that didn't seem like a bunch of laughs. Yeah. So I
there was a real stigma. There was a big stigma, I imagine.
Yeah, it kind of the only, I guess, image I would have had was Kramer versus Kramer.
Jesus.
Right.
In my head, which didn't look like great fun. I remember the scene with Dustin Hoffman cooking the omelet for the kid and that going so badly wrong. And I can cook a better omelet, but
take that, Dustin Hoffman.
Yeah. It just but now I still feel like, what a fool you are, Eleanor.
So here's why you have nothing to regret, is because you voted in a deeply selfish way to stop a whole country from doing something because you were afraid of it happening to you. And that is the most 18-year-old shit I've ever heard. That is exactly what it is to be 18. The world doesn't matter. It's about what I want, and fuck it. So if nothing else, you were the perfect mean of a teenager, and it's not your fault that you voted badly. It's their fault for letting you vote.
Well, it turns out that's a very 18 thing to do, and anyone over 50. Yeah. Sort of like they're kind of the same thing there, somehow.
Yeah, although it's swapped now. It seems like 18-year-olds are all pretty socially conscious, so I'm not sure what's going on.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
What's with that? How are they so good? How did they get so good?
I don't know. I think it's from growing up knowing that their parents were wrong because they could Google the answers to all the questions. And so
Gen Z, baby.
They didn't have that. Yeah, they didn't have that whole thing that we had where it was like, oh, my parents probably know everything. From the age of 7, they knew their parents were idiots. And so they had to build their own source of knowledge, which I think gains wisdom. But
I think Gen Z is going to save the world.
I
hope so. Yeah. I mean, certainly Gen X and the millennials are, you can write them off. So I think Gen Z's got it.
Yeah. And that's, but you're a product of your time. I was the same when I was 18. I was insanely selfish and had no consideration, thought that I was very thoughtful, but was actually just a dick. So I think that all you did was be yourself, and they shouldn't have put that vote in your hands. You should have had no say in it, nor should any other 18-year-old. It's ridiculous. People say 16-year-olds should be able to vote, and this is the first generation where that's true.
Yeah.
That has never been true before. Before, you should have to wait till you're 35 to vote when you something in your life is broken already. So you've got some sense of humility.
I guess it's good that there wasn't more referendums at the time, because I could have done a lot of damage, if they had given us more choice.
Well, and also it's not like you changed it, that divorce didn't win. It went ahead anyways, so there was no real impact of it.
Woo!
Yeah, so that's fine.
Thank goodness, right?
So really, no harm, no foul. What's the sound of one vote losing? There's no, doesn't matter. You're set.
I guess I can. Yeah, it's good to learn things about yourself in a way that doesn't have massive repercussions.
Yeah, and
those little
but could have had big repercussions, but didn't.
Yeah, I can
Those are
carry
the
that
best
with me.
ways to learn, right?
Absolutely.
You know,
Yeah.
you sort of dodged a bullet there.
Yeah, skin of your teeth. But that's but as a result, now it's like a signpost of how far you've come.
So I should be glad I did it then,
Yeah,
really.
absolutely.
Amazing.
You should be glad you did it.
Write this down. Yeah.
Yes.
Thank God.
Yeah.
Oh my God. Those
That's why
idiots voting to
Tell
legalize
that to your
divorce.
therapist.
Yeah. Losers.
The
I'm gonna
regrets
make a note.
round does
Legalize
it again.
divorce. Legal. Make divorce illegal. That's my.
I can't wait to see that on stage.
Why
All
not?
right.
Stand-up's gone very samey, isn't it?
Yeah, it's also boring.
Absolutely. Take a stand. Say something.
Yeah.
So that's the end of that one. Eleanor, how do you score it? Did we solve your regret?
Absolutely, but you both were equally good at it. So how do I give points?
Just give them to me. That's fine. You can just give
he takes that one, but only give him 1 point because he can't. I mean, he was good, but he wasn't that good. So maybe 1 point.
I'm going to take the very authoritarian stance and listen to both of you. Yeah.
Yes. All right.
Yeah.
Long live the Lizard Queen.
I put it at 9-6 now, by the way. To David.
Okay, cool. Good to know. Okay, so now we're going to go into the second speed round. Josh, if we can have the clock up, please. And Eleanor, you've got the list of words there.
I got him.
Good. David, you were for everything last time, so you're going to be against everything this time.
Got
all
it.
right?
Got
Excellent.
it.
Good.
So am I going to go first, or do you go first?
You go first.
I go first. Okay.
Yeah. So, Josh, if you could please start the clock. There we go.
First topic is courage.
Fuck courage. Oh, no. Way overrated. The people who survive are the people who run, not the people who run towards danger, the people who run away from danger. Want to survive? Check courage at the door.
I'm pro courage. I like it because it ends up killing all the people that bullied me in high school.
Next topic, coin.
Coin. Yeah, totally useless. Who uses coins anymore? I throw them in the garbage. I mean, they're just weighing me down. Not needed. It's 2020. It's all plastic.
I'm pro coins because I don't hate homeless people, unlike you, David. No one is giving paper money to homeless people. Homeless people don't have card swipers. You got to keep coins around to keep them in food and shelter.
Next is West.
I would say first, give homeless people food and shelter. You don't need to give them coins. Secondly, West. Yeah, no, it's all about the East. I'm making an Asian pivot. It's all to the East. That's where the world is going. That's where the future is. It's in the East. This shit is over.
I'm pro West because the future is clearly terrible. It's climate change is coming. We got more pandemics. Clearly, every part of the future is wrong. Let's go back about 60 years, but with the rights of now. And, I think that's what we want.
Notice.
No, you want to be spontaneous. Don't give people notice. Don't let them know what's coming. Just be totally spontaneous. That's what I say. Keep people on edge, off guard.
I'm for notice. It tells me when cats are missing. It tells me when kids are missing, and it tells me when there's a sale on at my local store. Damn, end of the speed round. I don't care about notices. All right, Eleanor, at the end of the second speed round, what's the score?
Yeah, David got 3 there, and Chris, you got 1. So David is now on. David is on 12, and Chris, you're on 7. So
okay, damn, 5-point deficit.
Which one did Chris get?
Chris got not notice. He got coin.
Yeah.
He got coin.
Coin. Yeah. All right. Well,
yeah. I was tugging on heartstrings. I really threw you under the bus on that one.
That's always a winner.
Yeah.
That's always a winner.
That's the Edinburgh Festival.
I liked your counter. I liked your counter argument, but if it had been in the first pitch you'd made, I could have maybe given it 2 days. Sorry.
Yeah. No, you were ambushed. Okay. All right. So that's the end of the second round. I'm down by 5 points, but we're going into the judge's choice round now, which luckily for me is worth 6 points.
Oh, right.
So winner take all.
What's judge's choice? Yeah. What's this about?
So
what's going on here?
Eleanor has chosen a topic. Neither of us know what it is. And David, you get to decide whether you want to be for or against whatever Eleanor's about to say. What say you?
Oh, I have to. I'm going to be against.
Against. Strong. All right. I am for Eleanor for all the marbles. What am I supporting?
You are supporting that J.R.R. Tolkien wrote the music for Phantom of the Opera.
Oh my God. Okay. That is very, very difficult. Let's see here. I have never read Lord of the Rings, nor have I seen Phantom of the Opera. So I would argue that that is the best case. It's the same reason I believe in the Loch Ness Monster and Sasquatch. It's the absence that proves the existence. I would say, I see the look on your face there, David, and I agree with you. I would say that, okay, J.R.R. Tolkien revolutionized storytelling with The Lord of the Rings and The Hobbit, right? He changed the whole game. I would argue that Andrew Lloyd Webber, who I believe was the writer of the Phantom of the Opera, Andrew Lloyd Webber, for writing such a fantastical and sort of mystical and smoky tale, would absolutely have been heavily influenced by J.R.R. Tolkien. And I would go so far as to say that actually Andrew Lloyd Webber, having seen him in his post-Brexit positions and his sort of troll nature, may well be a J.R.R. Tolkien character come to life, and in the absence of raiding villages, has chosen to write musicals with which to torture the children of parents who bought the soundtrack and played it all the time, like mine did. Counterpoint.
I'm going to give you, because it's difficult. Are you saying that through inspiring Andrew Lloyd Webber that Tolkien wrote Phantom of the Opera?
I'm saying that
inspiration.
It's either that, or equally likely, Andrew Lloyd Webber is a troll come to life from works of fiction. Both are equally possible.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
All right.
But it's only one of those two options.
Yeah, it's neither of those two things. What we do know is J.R.R. Tolkien wrote the most turgid, boring, indecipherable, unreadable doorstop in human history. That thing is The Hobbit, the Lord of the Rings. I mean, no one has ever finished those books. No one ever. But people say they did. They didn't really. They skimmed over quite a few chapters or whatever. No one has read them because they're unreadable. They are completely unreadable. Andrew Lloyd Webber, on the other hand, wrote a classic musical that children in Africa know. Like everyone in the world knows Phantom of the Opera. And it's one of the greatest pieces of musical theater ever written. And I think that I think you'll find that it would be an insult to Andrew Lloyd Webber to suggest that J.R.R. Tolkien inspired or had anything to do with his masterpiece, Phantom of the Opera, because they're completely different works, and there's no comparison whatsoever. And you are in real danger of making enemies of Andrew Lloyd Webber fans, and those people are not nice people on the best of days. But if you make them an enemy, they'll really come for you, and with reason, Chris Betts, with reason.
I would say that no one is more frightening than a J.R.R. Tolkien fan because they come with their own cardboard swords. There is a real danger of being LARPed to death. So I don't think that these African kids have seen Phantom of the Opera. I think they've heard of it, much like they have also heard of Lord of the Rings, and no one has ever read that. A very small percentage of people have actually seen the Phantom of the Opera. An even smaller percentage wish they'd seen it after having seen it. I feel like the parallels are so clear here that it's stuff that is great to name. You feel fancy talking about it, but no one wants to experience it, like the keytar. And it's I feel like maybe they're both just nom de plumes of.
I mean, you're undermining your own argument. On one hand, you're saying that Phantom of the Opera is something that no one really wants to see, and then on the other hand, you're suggesting that J.R.R. Tolkien is this sort of, classic author that redefined storytelling the world over. I think if J.R.R. Tolkien wrote a musical, wouldn't it be a musical that more people would see and want to see?
No, see,
by your argument,
it redefined storytelling, but so did the Bible, and people stopped reading that as soon as there were other books. So I would say
but people are still reading that,
but very few. It's like, I own a Bible. I keep meaning to read it. I've never gotten past Genesis. It's a fucking slog, much like
Great Doorstop,
Lord of the Rings, much like Phantom of the Opera. I think for something to be influential, it just needs the people that matter in the industry within it to love it, and then it sort of carries on forever. It's like I've never seen Citizen Kane, but I understand that it's one of the best films of all time, and so I think that they're of the same oeuvre.
I think you're muddying the waters. This tactic is just muddying the water. Throwing in Citizen Kane. Listen, there's no evidence, no evidence whatsoever that J.R.R. Tolkien had anything to do with, much less wrote, Phantom of the Opera. In fact, all the evidence points to Andrew Lloyd Webber writing Phantom of the Opera.
Is there any evidence that he didn't write it? Do you have a shred of evidence that J.R.R. Tolkien did not write Phantom of the Opera?
All the evidence points to Andrew Lloyd Webber writing.
Do you speak Elvish? Can you translate the songs that are in Lord of the Rings or the Silmarillion? I believe that those are just translated, and I think that some people on the internet can back me up on this. They are translated songs from Elvish that J.R.R. Tolkien wrote and were stolen by Andrew Lloyd Webber. All he did was design the mask, which, to be fair, iconic.
Right. You and Giuliani should spend some time together. You've got a similar kind of reasoning around the arguments you made. Just because it's unprovable doesn't mean it's true.
He's also a troll.
Yeah. I don't know. It's a moving target, this argument. It's a tough one to sort of pin down, especially when there is evidence we know of that Andrew Lloyd Webber wrote it.
I don't think anyone saw him writing it. It feels like a he said sort of situation. So, I mean, in that, I feel like the more fantastic it's, what is it? Occam's razor, the least likely outcome is probably the right one.
If you look at Phantom of the Opera, when he drops the mask, the Phantom is Andrew Lloyd Webber. He has the same face. It's basically his autobiography.
But that's exactly
the Phantom of the Opera.
But that's my point, is if we can have more than one Andrew Lloyd Webber, then isn't it possible that the original Andrew Lloyd Webber is actually a second J.R.R. Tolkien?
No, you can't have more than one. It's his autobiography. He just has an actor play it.
Sounds like he's a spooky ghost man to me. Very Lord of the Rings-esque character. You know, you can't say he's a human being at one point and say he's a spooky ghost the next. So all right, we'll call that there, because I mean, God knows.
Wow.
We got a lot more out of that than I thought we would. I'm pretty pleased.
Wow. My God, guys. I gotta say that I went back and forth an awful lot in that one. Chris, your opening was very strong altogether. You had first of all the inspiration theory that you floated, and then you narrowed in on the troll thing, which I was very, very convinced by that. Then David came in mentioning the name of the real writer. You mentioned that Andrew Lloyd Webber did write, and I found that convincing as well. I have to say that was a good point that she made. The whole thing about the fans of either, I mean, we kind of both ended up even on that. You said that you described the Andrew Lloyd Webber fans as being horrible cunts or something, wasn't it? You said. And then you, Chris, described the fans of the Lord of the Rings in less negative terms, but still horrible.
Equally dangerous.
Equally dangerous. I mean, I thought, David started to really come into his own at that point. You really did, David, with because you're stuck with your point, didn't you, about that Andrew Lloyd Webber, and you challenged Chris to come up with some evidence, which he didn't. He didn't come up with any. Came up with more theories, but they were very good theories, weren't they?
Yes.
The stuff about the songs, the Elvish songs. So good.
Thank you.
And I found myself confused. I thought for a second, maybe Tolkien did. And then, of course, I mean, when I brought this up, I had, you reminded me, but that there's plenty of talk online about Andrew Lloyd Webber and the ownership and the penmanship of various musicals, and suggesting that maybe it's not as clear cut as he would like. He claims it is. So I was kind of hoping one of you would bring that one up, but no, I guess I'm gonna I've got to come down on the side now, don't I? I really do.
Pick one.
Yeah,
I mean, the mask, that moment, that was a moment.
You can't.
That was good. Yeah, it was good, and you did well to point out the fallacy of that Chris, seemed to be suggesting that Andrew Lloyd Webber was both the writer of the Phantom of the Opera and playing the part of the Phantom of the Opera.
That was my understanding.
Yeah,
that's
not how theatre works, Chris. You got it. Yeah. But all in all, I think it was for difficulty points, I have to give it to Chris. I have to.
Yes.
Yeah.
So close. So
really
close.
Yeah.
Oh, dream the impossible dream. My goodness.
Wow.
That
The
was,
6 points.
Yeah.
6 points.
Wow.
Go to Chris.
Ooh.
Shall I reveal the final score?
I would love that. Thank you.
Yeah.
David, you got 12 points, but Chris got 13 points.
Oh, you were so on the ropes, Beth. You were on the ropes.
Yes.
Oh,
this happened to
man.
me 2 weeks ago. I was up 10-5 and I lost 11-10. Those swings, man, they just come at you.
Oh, wow.
This has been great. Thanks so much, guys. That was so fun.
It was tons of fun.
I went to a bunch of crazy places. Before I let you guys go, Eleanor, how can people find you, and is there anything you want to plug?
Yeah, I'm going to plug my, say hello, come find me on Twitter and Instagram, but also I've started an Etsy shop, which is a bit of fun. And the most recent item that I just got delivered, I show you, is these stickers that you can buy on my Etsy shop. That says spare button collection. Okay. So the way when you get an item of clothing, it always has a little button and you put it into a little tin. I'm guessing you don't have a label for that little tin in your house. Very so I've made up some little labels.
Now you do.
So stop by my Etsy shop and I'll be throwing these in with the stuff. I don't have a huge range of stuff, I'll be honest, but I'm getting there. It's
a capsule collection.
Is it under your name?
It's
Eleanor
called
Tiernan?
Comedy Solutions.
Comedy Solutions on Etsy. Go check that out. That's great. And David, what about you? Anything you want to plug, or how to follow you?
You can just follow me on all the various things on @DavidMills DEPT at David Mills Department, and you can listen to another podcast that is out this week called the Caged In podcast, and that's a podcast that dissects each episode a different Nicolas Cage movie.
Nice.
And I in this week's episode about the film Mandy, which is a brilliant
that's his new one,
Nicolas Cage film.
That's the one where he swings back into genius again, right? After
it's when he swung back
Treasure
into genius.
Years,
I mean, a lot of people say he's always been genius, but in my mind, in the critics' minds, and in mine as well, that was the one that really brought him back. Yeah,
I heard that from a few people. That sounds great. Also, if anyone's interested, they can see David in, is it Florence Foster Jenkins?
In Florence Foster Jenkins.
He's also in Florence Foster Jenkins, and I think you're in a couple other things. You're in. Who do you play recently in a show?
I was in this thing
called
the Mystery of DB Cooper. Yeah. So I'm in that, but I'm not in it much.
Okay.
But I'm in it.
Also, check out videos of both of them because they're both fantastic comics, and I love both of your stand-ups. So everyone else should watch your stuff because it's fucking great. David and I are going to hang out and have a quick post-show chat for the Patreon, which you can sign up to. Somewhere along the bottom of the screen is the name of it. I can't remember which part of the screen it's on because I can't see that in my display. Eleanor has to run to a live show. But I'm going to be interviewing her at a later date, and we'll upload that one too. So thank you very much for watching. Make sure to follow them. I'll be back next week with Laura Davis and Alice Fraser, and make sure to subscribe to the Chris Betts Versus podcast for all the previous shows. Thank you very much for watching. Thanks for coming, guys. We'll see you next week.
Bye, guys.
Bye.
Bye.